everybody play real quick. Yeah, so it's the first time. There's definitely a budding scene here, like, and Everyman kind of fostered that for a little bit. I think a lot of, not that we were like the first or anything, but like, cause like there's Strawberry Blonde, Cow Tippers was also in there, but I think Dreamsickle was, also in that first. I think a lot of people came to our shows and Strawberry Blonde shows and Cow Tippers, we'd all play together.
Just like word of mouth, I've been hearing more people taking an interest towards it.
Bobby from District Bikes.
Shout out
Bobby. Because, I mean, that was the first time, I mean, that was our favorite show we've ever played. That was where we were playing to, like, our crowd, it felt like. I mean,
Stillwater,
which is
great.
hard to do in Stillwater, but I'm hoping there's going to be a lot more shows like that soon at Jessica.
Yeah.
Because that could be huge.
Yeah, that's the best thing about it, honestly, is that like just socially as well. Where, it's just a pleasure being around these guys, honestly.
And these are like five of the best friends I've made in a while,
Yeah,
a long time. Like yeah, you can't beat that bond of like creating something together with people.
Support the local scene.
Yeah, support the local scene.
Yeah. You will meet the coolest people you'll ever meet at shows. Come out, we're gonna have some fun over the next couple years here in Stillwater and OKC. Go to local shows. And Tulsa. Tulsa too.
The first bands that come to mind when I book, or when I try to book a bill where we get to choose, are Stillwater bands, because being a predominantly red dirt country or country kind of town, when you have other alternative bands or metal bands that wouldn't get to play at every venue here in Stillwater, and you're playing out of town or even within town, you're thinking of them. I think out of those bands that I mentioned, we are definitely on the less not successful with we're not as big as other bands. But that's never an issue. When I'm booking venues, or maybe it's a venue I haven't seen one of our guys play at, one of the bands from here in town play at, I'm trying to book with them. Like Red Sun, they just signed with a really good label. They're an emo band, and they just signed with a really good label. But they signed with the same label as Hot Mulligan, which I think is one of the biggest emo bands right now. That's huge for Oklahoma, because then maybe they're looking at Red Sun, and they're looking at the pool of other musicians who are in the emo scene in Oklahoma, and they're like, oh, this guy's really good. We should sign them too. And the next thing you know, it's kind of the same thing that happened in I'm trying to think, like Seattle. If you think about the 90s, a lot of bands that came from there, they blew up because they were around that area. They were involved with grunge and what this genre was. I'm not saying it's the same thing in Oklahoma, but it's the same concept,
If I didn't have my band and then all the other music opportunities that I have in Oklahoma City and Tulsa, I would have definitely gone back to Dallas by now.
Fly over states, I guess there's just nothing to do, and some of the best music seems to come out of there. So we started the Ugly Cowboys, which was we wanted to kind of meld the worlds of punk and country, and then it just kind of turned into a punk band.
I'd like to think that we encourage other people to, get out there and play these shows, because, I don't want people thinking that, Stillwater is just country music, because we're a college town. Obviously, we have a very diverse set of people in a very small area.
A lot of what I'm seeing is younger millennials and older Gen Zers that are trying to change the scene.
We've made a lot of really good friends over the last couple of years that are not country music, which was so excellent. There's a lot of really awesome music, especially popping up more and more in this town, and also beyond there. In Oklahoma City and in Tulsa too, we've met a bunch of really, really awesome bands. I did my undergrad in a town half the size of Stillwater in the middle of nowhere. There wasn't a city of 100,000 people within like 5 hours of there. And all you could really do on the weekends was go drink at bars. And if you weren't of age, you'd go to house shows. And that was some of the craziest, most fun nights of my life. Or middle of nowhere, flyover state, basement, grimy playing and watching just crazy local bands play. That's what music's all about. Those coastal elites don't get it, you know? That's not where the music's at.
Because like country music has always been a big thing in Oklahoma, and now we're starting to see a lot of indie pop and emo rock and stuff like that, and they're all starting to come up. And you had places like White Rabbit that actually I think they just shut down, but they're over in Oklahoma City, and they were giving like, I know tons of Stillwater bands that played over there. And so just giving a lot of college bands opportunities to play and get a foot into the door of the Oklahoma City music scene. And then I know Noisetown is doing kind of the same thing over in Tulsa. Like we have a gig there through Backyard Mixtape. And I think also from what I've seen is a lot of these pop and rock bands are pushing to see change in Oklahoma.
My default song is a protest song. And so, you know, radical feminists believe in all people kind of stuff.
But I feel like Gen Z is probably the biggest, like, we're tired of watching a 40-year-old white man and his guitar sing about how much he hates his wife.
We are generally moving towards the right direction, and I feel that the alternative music movement is definitely lending itself to that progress. Keep on keeping on, keep on making music, keep on pushing us out of, you know, just the singular genre into the beautiful, diverse world that is music.
Next one.